Hello, everybody. Let me get my microphone adjusted here. Okay, so last night I did the Let's Rant episode of more ideas that I've had for GTA Online. Well, I've also been compiling ideas for 7 Days to Die as well. This game. This video can also kind of serve as another progress update for this game. As I've been showing my progress, I've been able to create enough concrete to get the front and the side and the back, and I've started on this side. Still working on finishing that side though. But yeah, as I was saying, I have ideas for a lot of the different games that I play. It's something that I do to spend time. Oh yes, another thing that I've done, more progress update, is I have managed to make this for the front of my base. This is what's known as a garage door. The only thing I don't like about it is it has created this little divot in the ground. You can actually see it dips in there. And you can't fix that because it's caused by the opening and closing of the doors. And you can kind of see how it dips down like that. And it bothers me, but you can't fix it, so there's nothing I can really do about it. So, oh yes, I've also put spikes, log spikes, all the way around the outside, 2 layers of them, some on the ground and some sticking out of the walls. Those are about head height, so those will hit the zombies right in the face and probably fuck them up. And I've also put some, because I tried to keep them away from the front doors. Actually, now that I think about it, I could probably add one more. See, because when I put the spikes up, I had the doors the way they used to be, where there was 2 doors. This was before I put in the garage door thing. So I could probably add some more spikes to probably go up to about here. So about 2 more blocks both ways. I put them over the top so that zombies, the spider zombies that can actually crawl up walls, would actually have difficulty going for that. And I've managed to add more concrete. I tried to do that around all of the doorways because around the doorways is the most likely place for the zombies to attack. But anyways, ideas. As I said, I've had a lot of ideas about this game and about a lot of the games that I play. It's just, like I said, something I do to kind of pass the time because I don't really do a whole lot, as you might be able to tell. I don't have a whole lot of friends, so I don't hang out with friends very often. So, you know, you guys have seen Phil over here, my friend Phil, and he comes over sometimes, but he has a job that keeps him busy a lot of the time. You know, they send him out places for like a month at a time, so there'll be stretches where it's a month before I can see the guy again, you know. You know, and I don't begrudge him, obviously, for it. You know, he has to have a job. He has to provide for his family. So I don't begrudge him for that. I have another friend, Troy, who I keep mentioning. He has another job that keeps him busy a lot. So, but I understand that, you know, you gotta work, you gotta have a job. I have my job. It doesn't keep me all that busy. So I have a lot of free time to think about things and play video games, and I usually end up thinking about the video games and how the developers could improve them. So that's why I've written down all of these ideas. Getting into my actual ideas for the game. And some of these ideas were inspired by other games, maybe some of them games of similar kind of games. Like my first idea is inspired by, a lot of people hated it, but I thought it was an alright game. There was a Walking Dead video game called Survival Instinct, or something like that. It was a first-person shooter. You played as Daryl, and I believe it followed Daryl and Merle, before, obviously, Merle died. But it followed them like before they hooked up with the group in Atlanta. So yeah, like I said, a lot of people didn't like that game. I thought it was all right. I thought it had some good concepts. One of which being instant zombie kill moves, like in The Walking Dead Survival Instinct. You could sneak up on a zombie and you would use your knife to just shank them right up the back of the brain stem. Just shank them real quick and they would die instantly because that's the no reflex zone. That's an instant kill. It would be nice to be able to do that with the zombies in this game. You know, you can get hunting knives, which is essentially what Daryl was using in the Survival Instinct game, but any type of a bladed weapon would probably do the trick. Even a bone shiv could probably achieve this. But it would also be nice to combine this with a stealth skill. Like you have all these skills, not a single one of them deals with stealth. And when you're dealing with zombies, you actually would probably do yourself well to learn how to be stealthful. Because sneaking around zombies can keep you out of trouble. So having a stealth skill, I think they might have actually already added a stealth skill into the PC version of the game, but that's Alpha 16 content in the PC version, which the console versions of the game do not yet have. Also, by the way, the Fun Pimps on their Facebook page announced that a new console update is going to be coming sometime in the next couple of weeks, which now that I've actually gotten this damn far in the game with, a lot of so much progress into the concrete of everything, I'm actually kind of dreading because I was kind of hoping to have more time, but I may end up just keeping this game, this save file, and just continuing to play it and maybe only worry about the new content. Maybe if I get bored, I don't know. I've just made so much progress on this, I would hate to throw it away and have to start fresh again. But yes, the instant zombie kill moves, also contextual kill moves. Things like being able to grab a zombie by the head and just slam his head up against a tree to smash his head in, or smash it up against a desk, you know. Environmental objects that you could just smash a zombie's head against to take him out. Smash him up against a wall, smash him against oh, this is not the room I was looking for. Smash his head up against a desk or a filing. Be able to pick up the filing cabinet and just smack the fuck out of him, If you have spikes nearby, just kick a zombie's legs out from under it so that they fall head first into the spikes. Instant death for the zombie. Contextual kill moves and stealth kills. I already kind of mentioned the stealth thing. On to the next idea. And this is one I think I have mentioned before in some of my other 7 Days to Die streams. I really hate the fact that when you make things like, say, corn on the cob, or you make the cornbread, it requires the recipe, when you make it in the campfire, it requires bottled water. But the thing is, you don't get the empty bottles back when you make these things. And that really sucks, because that means you blow through bottles when you really should be getting those things back, because making cornbread or making corn on the cob should not eat up the glass bottles. You should get those back. Sorry, my nose is itching. I don't know why. But yeah, just any recipe that involves bottled water where the water itself would be consumed, like you boil the water to cook the corn on the cob. It's understandable that you lose the water, but it's not understandable that you lose the bottles, because the bottles are actually kind of important, so you should really get those back, And they already have something similar. Somebody's car alarm is going off outside. And it stopped. Okay. They have similar things already in the game. Like, when you drink a bottled water or any kind of a tea, you get the bottle back. If you eat a canned piece of food, like if you have any of the canned food, you'll get an empty can from eating it. So it's the same sort of principle. You get the can or the bottle back. So why isn't it like that when you cook food in the campfire? I just don't understand that. The bottles are really important because if you run out of them, then you can't get any more water, you know. Yes, it's fairly easy to find more bottles because you can just loot houses and find plenty of empty bottles, but I don't know, it's just the principle of the thing. Next idea. Um, when you assemble weapons, there should be some more slots of optional things that you can add to guns. They already have flashlights, which is appreciated, and it is very nice that they have that. But there should also be other optional slots, like adding a silencer or a suppressor to certain guns. Obviously, for the 44 Magnum, you probably wouldn't be able to silence that, or the shotgun, because people don't usually silence a shotgun. But for the regular pistol, the the MP5, the SMG, the AK-47, the sniper rifle, and probably even the hunting rifle, you should be able to add silencers or suppressors to them. And that would again help you with stealth so that you could take zombies out without them being alerted to your presence and being hunting you. So they could add just more of these optional slots. Like with the flashlight, there would be one for a silencer, and on other certain guns, like mainly the hunting rifle, the sniper rifle already comes with a scope, and that's what I'm getting to. Being able to add a scope to a hunting rifle, an SMG, or an assault rifle. And possibly even, maybe not necessarily a scope, but some sort of aim assist device. Maybe to the pistol, something like like a red dot scope, or like a red dot sight, basically. Just some sort of something to help with aiming, because they did change things, at least with the bow and arrow and with the crossbow. You see the crosshair there on the screen, but when you aim, the crosshair disappears. And in Alpha 16 of the game, I actually just saw this thanks to the guys at Achievement Hunter. I watched their series playing this game on the PC version, and I love their stuff. Um, but in the PC version, in Alpha 16, they've added the compound bow, which is kind of like the regular bow and arrow, but it's more advanced, and it actually has like an aim. It's kind of like a scope to it. You can actually see where you're aiming when you go to aim. See, with this, there's no crosshair or anything to tell you. The only way you can do it is to maybe use this and use the undetected symbol to kind of help you aim. And the same thing goes when you aim guns. Now, sure, you have the sights on the guns, but those aren't so good. So having some sort of a little aim assist would be nice. So on some guns, add the ability to add some sort of a scope or an aiming assist device. The next idea, add the ability to craft more types of clothes. Got somebody in the chat. How you doing? I need to bring that up, by the way. I have YouTube up on the phone. Here's the thing. There we go. Okay. Yeah. The ability to craft more types of clothes. See, a lot of these things like t-shirts and sweatshirts and tank tops and these like button-up shirts, you can't craft them yourself. So you should be able to. And it would also be nice to include different things that you could make dyes so that you can actually make the different colors. And I mean, they already have chrysanthemum, which you can already use to make red wooden blocks. Like, it kind of looks like these cabinets, and I used to have it. There was the staircase that I had here that I took out, but it was like red wood staircase blocks. And but you had to use chrysanthemum for the dye, basically. Well, there's plenty of other flowers that you can use White would probably not need a dye at all because you just use regular cotton to make a shirt and it would be white by default. But green, purple, blue, black, black would probably involve using coal or charcoal. You would mix into a dye. In the PC version, they have paint. You can actually paint things, and that's cool. So it would probably be something similar to make these different dyes to make different colored clothing. But it would just be nice to be able to craft, and also be able to craft like these leather trench coats or the duster coats and the puffer coats. You know, we have all these cloth fragments, leather pieces. You know, we should be able to craft more stuff with them. That's that idea. And this is another one that I've mentioned before. Fix the camera on the mini bike to auto center when you get on it. See, when you get on the mini bike, the camera stays looking in the direction that it was when you first got on the bike. My idea is that it would automatically center so that you could drive easily. And for some reason my clothes aren't appearing. That seems to keep happening. I need to load into my character screen. And now my clothes are on. For some reason it keeps doing that. But yeah, yeah. That idea. Fixing the hit detection. That's the next idea. I keep having problems with the hit detection. Usually it happens when I'm trying to hit grass. Like, I usually use a club to hit the grass. And, you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Because sometimes the club will go right through the grass and hit the dirt below it. And that's very frustrating. Because, you know, I don't want to dig up the dirt, I just want to harvest the damn grass. And of course, when I want it to do it, it doesn't do it. I don't know. But like I said, a lot of times when I'm trying to destroy the grass, just get plant fibers, or if I'm just trying to get grass out of the way, because I actually had to do these gray pieces of grass here are actually places where the tall grass has grown because I have planted, because below them were like little patches of gravel that I dug up, and I replaced them with actual grassy ground, because you can actually craft that. There was a couple more over here. And this is a dirt patch from where a big rock formation used to be. I harvested all the stone and just left the dirt. I flattened it out with my little technique using the wooden frames to flatten out the ground. And you always seem to have to do that when you replant stuff, because it always wants to be bumped up. I don't know why. But yeah. But basically just fix the hit detection so when you're aiming at something, you actually hit what you're aiming at. Whether it's the grass or whether it's a zombie, you know. Make sure that the hit boxes on all characters are good. And, you know, if you actually aim at them, you should hit them. And your club won't go through the grass and hit the dirt below. Because I hate doing damage to the dirt when I don't want to. Okay, this next idea I had to amend myself. I think it may have been last night or the night before. But the idea is, fix block destruction, so when you take a layer off, the damage that was overkill on the previous layer will be applied to the fresh layer. What this would mean is, when you have blocks, like say these wooden blocks, these are upgraded wooden blocks, if you're whacking at them, trying to destroy them, you don't do overkill damage to the next block, or the next layer, and you always have to start the next layer fresh, at complete 100% health. But if your tool does more damage than what is left on the health meter of the block, you know, it doesn't register that. And the thing that I had to amend would be this would only apply to blocks and not specific objects. So the way I kind of rationalize this is because I realized that this would be kind of bad when you're trying to break open gun safes or any kind of a safe. If you do damage to the safe itself, after you've already broken the lock, because when you come across a gun safe, it's locked. So you have to chip away at it to open it up so you could get into it to get the goodies. And the same thing for any other kind of safe, like wall safes or desk safes. So you don't want to damage the actual safe itself, although I guess it doesn't really matter if you damage it a little bit, it's still there. But once again, that's me because I'm OCD and that shit bothers me. So it would only apply to regular blocks and not the specific objects like the gun safes or the other type of safes or any type of storage crate. Because you don't want to damage things like the gun store crates or the handyman crates. You don't want to damage those because you don't want to break those and then not be able to loot them again. Next idea. And this is another thing that I think I may have mentioned previously. If you'll remember way back, there were cars in the driveways of all these houses here in this little place that I've taken over. The idea is add the ability to fix cars and be able to drive them around like the mini bikes, but you would have more storage, more durability, and able to run zombies and animals over. This was before I knew that you could actually run over zombies and animals with the mini bike. Good hunting tactic, by the way. Run over the deers with the mini bike because the mini bike actually moves faster than the deers do. And the same thing goes for pigs and the smaller things like chickens and rabbits. But yeah, just be able to fix up cars. They would be more durable than the mini bikes, and they would be able to take more damage, and they would have more storage capacity because this thing with its little tiny shopping basket, you don't have a whole lot of room for storage. So, yeah. Yes, I've actually put up signs for labeling my storage trunks, at least in here. And I also did the same thing with my gun parts trunks upstairs in my gun room. I also put a couple of storage chests here. For some reason, they hover just a little bit over the top of the desk, but I guess that's because the desk is just a little bit below where the actual block cuts off. And I'm using them to store my schematics that I have extra. I've got one for weapon stuff and one for armor stuff because I got tired of piling up all my bookcases and suitcases. Oh, that's where I'm keeping the medical stuff and the mini bikes because those aren't guns or armor related. And then I have my little lockers thing. But yeah, the chests that I have I've also been lighting the place up with more. I've been able to kill some more animals, so I've gotten some animal fat. I've been able to make some more candles to light the place up. Because I got tired of it being so dark. I got pistol, I got 44 Magnum, shotgun, hunting rifle, sniper rifle, MP5, AK-47, RPG, chainsaw, auger, and nail gun. And I actually do have a nail gun. I actually do have an auger, which I used. The durability on that thing goes down really fast. Maybe it was just the fact that it has a really weak auger blade, level 71, yeah. The handlebars are good, the engine's decent, the parts are actually really weak. And it goes through gasoline fairly quick, too. And then the chainsaw, I don't have any chainsaw parts. But yes, I also put those up on platforms because I got tired of them being down on the ground. I don't have a whole MP5 yet. I need the buttstock. But yeah. Fixing the cars, yeah. This is probably, the next idea is probably something that they've already been working on, and but it's just something that I've been noticing is out of whack on the console version, and maybe the new patch that they're releasing is going to fix these things. But the next thing is rebalance the material costs for crafting. My reasoning for this. If you go... I could probably do it standing still, but I just look at the workbench here. If you go here, tools, and you try to make a pickaxe, it takes 20 pieces of forged iron. Now, that bothers the shit out of me, because I don't think it should take 20 pieces of forged iron to make a pickaxe. And the reason for that is because usually a forged piece of any type of metal, like more commonly referred to as an ingot. You know, if you've played Skyrim or not Oblivion, because they don't have the blacksmithing stuff. But if you've played Skyrim, you're familiar with the ingots that they use in blacksmithing. Those weigh at least 5 pounds, most of them. 5 pounds of forged iron should probably be enough to make a pickaxe head. Maybe 2 of them. So, unless these forged iron pieces are really, really small, you really shouldn't need 20 of them to make a pickaxe head. Or 16 to make the head of a gardening hoe. Or another 20 for a fire axe head. Or another 16 for a shovel head, or 30 for the head of a sledgehammer. I just think that's kind of ridiculous. And there's a lot of other examples of this. So, unless they come forward with a actual definition of how much these pieces of forged iron and all the other materials, how much they actually weigh, or what the size of them is actually supposed to be, that would actually make it make sense for them, for us to have to use so many of them. Unless they come forward with that actually makes sense, it really just doesn't make sense to me. So that kind of bugs me. Oh yes, I was actually able to find a set of calipers for my forge. Next idea, and I think this is actually something that they are adding they may have already added into the PC version. Add auto turrets as a trap type item. It would be like a gun turret, not one that you mount yourself, but it's automated, and it would just fire at any zombies it sees. You know, you create it. It would probably require mechanical parts, probably some form of electrical parts or electrical components to make it work. In the PC version, they're already working on like electronic systems, like having wiring and generators and things like that, so you can actually bring electricity to your houses and things like that, your fortresses. So electrical parts, electrical components, mechanical parts. It may even require springs, possibly some of these pipes, and of course you would have to give it ammo. And it would probably require a bunch of forged iron pieces to make the actual turret body itself. But yeah, that would just be an interesting thing to add to the game. And they might already be working on it, I'm not sure. The next idea, and this is something that's become standard in first-person shooters, and that's to add hit markers when shooting. And if you don't know what that means, if you play Call of Duty or Battlefield or anything like that, when you're shooting at an enemy and you actually hit them, a little X will appear on in the crosshair. You know, it'll show an X to show that you actually hit them. Because, you know, sometimes when you shoot a gun or a bow in this game, you don't know if you hit or not. So it would be nice to have that sort of feedback to tell you that, okay, you hit them. You know, and sure, you know, the indication for when you hit a zombie is they kind of stagger or they fall down. But if you're hunting a deer, you know, they may not really sell it, or you might be too far away to actually see them sell it. So, like I said, add a hit marker so you know you hit them. Speaking of hunting, the next idea, add the ability to retrieve arrows and crossbow bolts. You know, because usually if you lodge an arrow or a crossbow bolt into a deer or a pig, you know, once again, The Walking Dead, Daryl, he usually yanks his crossbow bolts back, cleans them off, and he puts them back into his quiver. So he's, you know, so you don't run out, and so you're not constantly having to make more of the damn things. You know, once again, just add a couple of little convenience things so we're not constantly having to waste resources to craft shit that we already have. But that would just be nice, you know. And not only that, if you miss, and say the arrow lodges into a tree or into the ground, you should be able to get it back, you know. Next idea. Okay, this idea actually came from, I believe, the developers of the game actually released what they called a live action trailer, where it shows this guy spawning in. It's live action, so it's a real person. This dude spawns in like the snow biome, and he's shivering, he's cold. He finds a dead guy lying in a car, and he takes the dude's clothes, he takes his shoes, and he starts gathering up resources. And I think the dude found a bow with the dead guy, and so he starts gathering up resources to make himself like a little kind of wooden shack, you know. And he also puts up these fences. Well, the fences themselves, it's like, I don't have any fences around here, but it's like, not like the picket fences, but it's more like the wooden farm fences that you can make. It's kind of like this, but there's like holes in it. But what it is there's spikes sticking out, because he has like spikes going through the fences. And so not only would it keep the zombies from being able to walk forward, but it would also impale them and either hold them in place or do damage to them. So add spiked fences and more defensive items and traps. So, oh yeah, for some reason I have some water over here. Yeah, you might also notice that I have extra water in my pool. I did that because I was trying to... I keep having this problem. The reason why I have water over here is because I put some in this corner, but I thought the fence and the wall would keep it in, but it actually moved outside, and now I'm having to move it in. I keep having this problem where the water just... The water really just does not act like... I mean, does that look like real water to you? It sure as hell doesn't look like it to me. Water shouldn't be higher in some places than it is in other places. You know, it should level off and be flat, you know. Which would be another idea to fix the water physics in this game, because it just doesn't really work this way. And another thing would be when it rains, you would actually start to notice the level in a pool would rise, you know, because the rainwater adds to the water that's in there. Shit like that. Defensive items and traps. Yeah, there's not really a whole lot of defensive items and traps. And it would just be nice to have more of that stuff. You can already craft, like, mines that you can set for the zombies to trip up on and blow themselves up on, which is cool. You can craft barbed wire fences, which basically act just the same way as the spikes. You know, you put them somewhere, it actually slows the zombies down, but so do the spikes. So, yeah. And once again, this might be stuff that they've already added into the PC version of the game with Alpha 16. And this is another thing that I think they may have already added. But add full-on army bases. Like, there's a barracks army thing that you can find, and there's little army camps that you can find. But not like a full-on army base. You know. Kind of something similar to Fort Zancudo in GTA, you know. In GTA 5. Like I said, maybe that's something they're already working on. Maybe it's already in the PC version. I don't know. Next idea. Add more dev-created maps. I'm playing on the Navezgane map, which is the only map in the game that is actually created by the developers of the game. It's completely handcrafted. They made it for a specific purpose. And then you have all these different random gen maps, which it's kind of funny because it's called random gen, but you can actually get it to make specific maps by naming them specific things. And a lot of people have discovered these names, and they're using them to always create the same map. So, but yeah, kind of, yeah. But the example that I had here, let me see if I can go find one of these things. Sometimes when you're walking down the road, you'll come across it's like a little sign. Usually you see these signs on the sides of highways. You know, they'll tell you how many miles to the next town or whatever, right? Well, they have a sign like that in the game, and it tells you essentially, Navezgane is a city, I believe it actually exists in New Mexico, because it says that, or maybe it's Arizona, I'm not sure. It's one of those southern, down by the border of Mexico states. It's either Arizona or New Mexico, because I believe Santa Fe is listed on the sign, and I believe so is Phoenix. I don't know if I'd be able to find one of these signs. But the sign also lists Roswell, New Mexico, which everybody knows is the whole, the infamous Area 51 thing back in the 40s with the whole crashed alien ship. Still a lot of mystery around those things. But the sign, it says Roswell, but it's crossed out, and somebody's painted on there, "Don't go there." So that piqued my curiosity. What happened in Roswell that has people painting on these signs, "Don't go there"? Is that like the ground zero of what's happened here? Because if you don't know, the actual story behind the zombies in this game is they were created through some form of radiation, and that's why there's radioactive areas on the map, usually at the edges of the map. Where you get affected by radiation damage, and unless you have the hazmat suits, yes, I've also done some work around the farm here. This is the farm. I've cleared out the corn, and you'll notice these damn things. I plant in places you will see clay on the farm, on the ground. There's places of clay. And obviously you can't, well, yeah, here, you can see clay. This orangey, greenish, yeah, those are clay. If you plant stuff on there, it doesn't really work very well. So I dug all those up, got rid of the clay, and I planted sod over top of them. Well, the damn sod doesn't want to fucking dry. And you have to let it dry before you can actually plant stuff on it. Or before you can actually use your garden hoe to till it. And so you can still pick it up because it's still wet, and as long as it's wet, you can still pick it up. This has been here for several in-game days, so this would be another thing that I would suggest they fix, is that the damn sod doesn't seem to dry sometimes, and I don't know why. Like I said, it's been here for days, in-game days that is, and it should have dried by now. I've cleared out this entire line of the corn, and I decided to till it because I was going to start growing some food here because I figure I would be able to make a shitload of food here. All kinds of corn and potatoes, all kinds of other stuff. Oh yes, I've also planted chrysanthemum all the way around the house and the garage, completely upgraded all the wood, the house and the garage. Another little status update there. Yeah, filled in all the windows. Yeah. And I even have some stuff stored here. There's some food in the fridge. 186 things of corn because all the corn that I had to harvest here. I've got some materials for building. I was still building up the walls. Yeah, here's all the seeds. And I've got some sod. Yeah, anyways. I could not find that sign that I was talking about, the road sign. Oh, yeah, here's another thing. For some reason, I can't plant along this edge of the porch or along in this little 2 block spaces here either. It won't let me plant stuff there. And it's the same on the other side. It will not allow me to plant stuff there. And I don't know why. Is it because this fence is in the way, or the railing is in the way? I've noticed that, yeah, also with these corners, when they have these posts, it won't allow you to plant stuff. You can't even till the dirt unless you move these damn things out of the way. And I think I may end up doing that because, once again, my OCD, it bugs the shit out of me. I think I ended up doing that. No, I didn't do it on... Yeah, on the corners of the garage, too. Little bare spaces where I can't plant the things. But anyways, yeah, the whole Roswell thing. What happened at Roswell? Why are people painting on these signs, "Don't go there"? You know? It makes me really curious to find out what happened there. So that's that idea. More dev-created maps. Like, you could do other cities down in New Mexico, like Santa Fe and Phoenix. Although Phoenix is a large city, so that may not be possible. Santa Fe, I think, is also kind of a larger city, so maybe not. But what happened in Roswell? Let's find out. Next idea. Oh. Change the underground bunkers to be down lower so zombies can't sense you. I've shown off the underground bunker in one of my one of the last couple of videos that I made. The underground bunker is a really cool place, but the thing is, it doesn't go down far enough to really keep the zombies from sensing you, because they can sense you from kinda further away. So this would just be to move the bunker down lower, basically down to bedrock, so they couldn't sense you. So it would make it so when you get to these underground bunkers, you're safe, completely safe. The zombies are not going to be able to dig that far down to get to you, and they won't even be able to sense you. My nose is still itching. I need to trim my nose hairs. Yeah, so that's that idea. Here's another idea that the devs may already be working on. They kind of showed it with the addition of the traders in the game. You know, the guys that you can trade with, buy stuff from. The idea is to add NPCs and possibly a storyline to play through. Because I think, you know, that might be what they're working towards. Is, you know, it kind of seems like they're going that way when they have, you know, the little challenges that you can find, the little quests from whoever this group of survivors is, that they keep sending you these little challenges, like kill so many deer, kill so many zombies, or whatever. They want you to prove to them how good you are, you know, because they're offering to take you in, you know. Who are these people? We never see them. Where are they? Who are they? Oh, and then I kind of mentioned this earlier. More skills like stealth with their own perks that can be acquired. I already mentioned having a stealth skill in the game, but there's probably some other skills that you could have. Stupid nose itching. Sorry. What else could you add? I don't know. I believe there was a perk that they actually took out for this update that I have here, and maybe they're going to add it back. Stealth would be at least one skill that they could add to the game. I don't know what else. You have blunt weapons, you have blade weapons, you have your archery, you have pistols and rifles and shotguns. And I'm guessing rifles encompasses everything, including hunting rifles, and assault rifles. Gain skill by using items from this group. So rifles and assault rifles. So I'm guessing that's hunting rifles, sniper rifles, and assault rifles. But where do SMGs fit in? Spread weapons. So the two different shotguns. And then you have pistols, which would be the handguns, or the pistol, and the 44 Magnum. So again, where's the skill for the SMG? It honestly probably could fit in with rifles, since it's basically the same sort of thing. So, I don't know. But yeah. I'm sure there's some other perks that they could add, maybe irrespective of different skills, not necessarily associated with other skills, that is. Um, Next idea. Rebalance the amount of edibles that can be in one slot. Like, you can only have 50 pieces of cornbread in one slot, in one stack. I don't know, that sounds about right, but different bottled water drinks, you can only go up to 15. Well, the actual drinks, like actual purified water, the red tea, the goldenrod tea, the other types of drinks like beer and honey. I found these Mega Crush energy drinks. And then, of course, you have yucca juice. Why only 15 in a stack? When the unpurified, the murky water, can go up to, I think, 100. What's the difference? And the same thing goes for, like, food items. Like, you can only have 50 baked potatoes. Okay, that's fine. Even though you can have up to 500 ears of corn. You can have 500 ears of corn, but when you make them into corn on the cob, I think you can only do 50. Same thing for 50 yuccas. Yeah. I can make another thing of bacon and eggs here, so I make it well. Oh, there's actually a skill that they could add to the game. Cooking. You improve your cooking skill by cooking food, and the higher your skill gets, the less time it actually takes to cook food. And actually getting to higher levels of cooking would enable you to make, it would unlock, or there would be perks that go along with your skill level in cooking that would unlock recipes of different things that you could make. I think it may even have it listed here in some place. Is let's see. Yes, add more growable crops, and in parentheses it says Minecraft. This game is basically Minecraft, only the graphics look a hell of a lot better. Things are less blocky. And your only enemies are zombies, and I guess bears. But the bears are apparently zombified as well. And there's these weird flying critters. They're supposed to be like giant mosquitoes or something. But yeah, so in Minecraft, there's a lot more crops that you can grow. Things like wheat for making bread, which would be one of the things I would like for them to add. Let us grow wheat so we can make bread, so we can make sandwiches with meat and potatoes, you know. Make sandwiches, you know, that would be cool. You could have things like, again in Minecraft, they have sugar cane that you can grow. You can use sugar to make, and also be able to grow, you'd be able to use the wheat to make flour, which you could use to make baked goods, things like cakes, or things like that. And you would need the sugar to make that. More animals, you could add cows, like in Minecraft. You could milk the cows for the milk, which you could also use in crafting different food items. And I mean, there's going to be cows, because like anywhere there's a farm, there should be cows. Cows, pigs, chickens. Of course, most of the animals will have broken free and gone out exploring. But, you know, and you probably have sheep as well, which sheep you could get wool, like, again, in Minecraft, you'd be able to make shears to shear the sheep to get wool to make different clothing items. You could have wool clothes, which would keep you warm for the snow biome. Just add a bunch of the stuff that's in Minecraft. You know, horses. Have horses. So you could tame a horse, put a saddle on it. You'd be able to make saddles out of leather and other... You probably need a little bit of metal for the little buckles on the straps. Be able to make saddles to ride a horse. You could ride a horse instead of having to have a mini bike, because a mini bike requires gasoline, which isn't necessarily all that easy to come by. But a horse, you just have to feed it some food. Just have some corn on the cob or potatoes or whatever, you know. So there would be some more ideas. The next idea I have here. Add a crowbar. You could use it as a weapon or you can use it as a tool. And as a tool, you could use it to remove armor upgrades on blocks faster. Armor upgrades would be, well, I guess this does kind of count as an armor upgrade. But basically, anytime you upgrade a door, it adds like armor to it. You could use a crowbar, or if you come across doors that have like 2x4s nailed to them, kind of things. I don't have any here. Not on the other houses, but I guess this door over here. Nope, I upgraded that one. But yeah, you'd be able to use a crowbar to pry stuff off, and it would actually add the materials into your inventory. So if you're prying 2x4s off of a door, you would get wood added into your inventory. You could actually, because I've actually upgraded this garage door with some more metal, and it adds these extra metal plates for extra armor. So you could actually use a crowbar to remove those. And again, it would add the metal back into your inventory. So that would be an interesting thing. And it would remove the armor upgrades on blocks. It would remove them faster than just hacking at it with a stone axe or a fire axe or whatever. The next idea is to rebalance the hunger/thirst values for food and drink. And this really came about because before this patch that I'm currently playing on, I don't know what the patch number is, but before that, things like cornbread and the different drinks and stuff would give you more stuff into your food and water meters. And, I don't know, I kind of feel like they nerfed it in this patch. Didn't really like that. So, speaking of, I should probably drink. Yeah, in here, the bottles of water do about 20 hydration. I guess that sounds about right, maybe. But maybe just rebalance it, tweak it a little bit so things are... just, I don't know, have it better, I guess, something. Yeah, let me top off my cornbread and my red tea. Oh, here's another important one. I mentioned earlier using a club to take out the grass to get plant fibers and stuff. I notice that doing that can blow through your clubs rather quickly. Hitting something as weak and fragile as grass should not take all that much durability away from your tools. So this idea is to rebalance the durability damage so weak objects do little or no durability damage to your weapons/tools. You know, because like I said, you can blow through clubs pretty quickly just beating on grass. And I think that kind of sucks. You know, because grass is really weak. So grass should do very little, if any at all, damage, durability damage, to a club, especially the iron reinforced clubs or barbed wire clubs. You know. Okay, that's the last thing on that side of the page. Now I can flip over to the other side. Oh, here's one that I think is really important, especially for people who like to do a lot of hunting. The animals, like the deers, the pigs, the chickens, the rabbits, should be attracted to long grass, stuff like this, and crops. So if you're growing a bunch of crops at your base, it should attract animals, because they would want to come and feed on them. Now, obviously, you would want to kill them and stop them from eating your crops, because they're my crops. I'm using them. You stupid animals. But it would also be used as a tactic to attract animals so that you could kill them. Because hunting in this game is kind of a pain in the ass. Unless you just run everything over with your mini bike, which it actually does damage to your mini bike over time. But using the crops as bait, essentially, to attract animals so that you could easily kill them would be nice. Speaking of animals, and once again, they've already done half of this with the Alpha 16 on the PC. But this idea is to add tameable animals like wolves and horses. I mentioned the horses a minute ago. They've added wolves into the game with the Alpha 16 patch on PC. But I don't think they're tameable. They're only enemies. They will attack you, and they're very vicious. They will fuck you up. So it's a lot like the zombie dogs that are already in the game. They're tenacious, they're fast, and they're vicious. They will tear your ass up. But it would be nice to be able to tame them. Again, like in Minecraft. You can tame wolves in Minecraft. And they also have ocelots, which are the big cats that you can tame in Minecraft. And apparently here recently they've added horses into Minecraft as well. So, be able to do that. You know how cool it would be to go zombie hunting with a pack of wolves following you? And they're all tamed, they're loyal to you? You just walk up to them with like some raw meat. You say, here boy, you take it, and then there's tamed. Or it would be kind of maybe a similar taming mechanic to what is in Ark Survival Evolved, where you tame the dinosaurs. Similar, but not necessarily exactly the same. You would just feed them, and it would take a certain amount of food to completely tame them. But it would be cool to have like a pack of wolves as your allies to go zombie hunting, and they dive on the zombies and just tear them up, and that would be cool, right? And obviously the horses, be able to ride horses around, and yeah. Add more growable crops. I already talked about that. Things like wheat, sugarcane, more types of food like carrots. You should be able to grow carrots. Maybe have like apple trees. Another thing from Minecraft is sometimes when you hit the leaves on trees is they'll drop apples. So have more different types of food items in the game, and you'd actually be able to grow apple trees. Have an orchard full of apple trees. You know, you could use the apples to make apple pie, to make apple juice, more stuff to drink. You could just eat raw apples, and that would help with your hunger. And the benefit to that is raw apples are not poisonous, so it wouldn't be like eating a raw egg. It wouldn't make you sick. Same thing with carrots. You could eat raw carrots, or you could cook the carrots into some sort of a vegetable stew. There's all types of crops that you could add to the game to make it a little bit better. Oh, and this goes along with that, being able to grow wheat. Well, if you remember how it works in Minecraft, you use a hoe on grass-covered dirt blocks, and you get the wheat seeds from hoeing the grass. Well, this idea is to basically have that. If you use a gardening hoe on grass-covered dirt blocks, you can sometimes get wheat seeds, which can be used to grow wheat, which can be used to make bread, which can be used to make sandwiches. I already kind of went over that. But again, there's a lot of ideas in Minecraft that you could really use in this game. And going along with all of this cooking, possibly to add a cooking station, something similar to the chemistry station. It would be, you'd probably require a campfire. But see, I got to thinking about that. It's probably not necessary because campfire by itself is already pretty much a cooking station because you already have the campfire. It has a cooking pot. It has a cooking grill. And the beakers, I think, are basically only used to make liquid things like you can make gas cans and you can make fertilizer and grain alcohol possibly, and I think you need it for the snowberry juice. But yeah, so you can use it for those things. So maybe the cooking station is unnecessary. Next idea. Rebalance the airdrops to contain more types of items like food/seeds, clothes/armor, and etc. And the reason why I think this is because I've picked up a lot of airdrops, and they usually contain the same shit. You'll usually get some beakers, usually. You might get a couple of schematics for things, weapons, first aid stuff. You might get some actual first aid items like first aid kits, antibiotics, painkillers. You might get a gun part or two. But that's about the only things you ever find in airdrops. You never find armor, you never really find like melee weapons or whole. You don't usually get whole guns. You might sometimes. Sometimes you'll get ammo in them too. But you never really get like ammo or I meant to say armor. You never really get armor or clothing or any type of food or seeds to grow food. So these airdrops really ought to contain more different types of stuff. The next idea, more rebalancing. To rebalance the weapon damage, especially for guns, and also make hits to certain body parts do more or less damage. Basically, it seems like, yes, headshots do a lot of damage to the zombies, but they aren't absolutely lethal like they probably should be. If you shoot a zombie in the head, they should die instantly. Period. It doesn't matter what quality your gun is. A bullet to the head is a death sentence for a zombie. And the same thing goes for lodging an arrow into their head. They should be dead instantly. But shooting other parts of the body, like their arms or their legs, may not do as much damage. And still, you might, take their limbs off, which is definitely useful, because if you take off their legs, they can't move as fast and they're just crawling. You take off their arms, they can't really swing at you to hurt you. So that's definitely useful. Here's another thing that I think is a really good idea. Add the ability to force an autosave manually. You cannot force an autosave or even a manual save. When you quit out of the game, it automatically saves, I think. But there's no way to force a autosave. So, I don't know. It would just be nice to be able to force that. Just an option in the pause menu. Autosave. Another idea, and this is really just kind of bugs me because of size. You notice the storage chests. Kind of small, And then you notice this big supply chest. Takes up a whole block. But if you notice, has the exact same number of storage slots. That doesn't make any sense to me. I feel that these big crates should have more slots than these little chests. So either take away some slots from the chest or add some slots to the crates. I don't know. Next idea, we're getting towards the end here, so we won't be going on for much longer. The next idea would be to add vaulting animations for going over low objects like fences or railings. Basically, this comes from, I think it's kind of dumb that you can walk up to a fence and just get hung up by the damn thing. Your guy, especially if you're sprinting, your guy should automatically vault over it. And if you're looking at it as another character from a thing, you should actually see him like vault over it, you know, and jump over it. Because it looks kind of funny that when you jump, your character just kind of hovers up. And you also keep getting hung up on these ledges like this, instead of just jumping all the way up and over. And sometimes it won't even let you do that. The jumping in this game really needs fixed too. Jumping up on the ledges. It's like your feet clip the top of the ledge and it prevents you from jumping all the way up. And that's really kind of lame. The next idea. If you've played Dead Island, another zombie survival game, add the ability to kick a zombie. Just kick him. It would push him back. It would maybe do a little bit of damage. But you could just kick them, and maybe sometimes you could kick them and they would fall over. But just add the ability to kick, like in the Dead Island games, to push enemies away from you. Also does light damage. So that would be nice, to just be able to push a zombie away from you, give you some room. You know, if they start swarming at you, you could kick them and they would kind of stagger backwards away from you. This would allow you to at least be able to get away, you know. Next idea. Add options to customize what zombie types you want in your game world, and customize the strength of zombies. This comes from the fact that they're adding a lot of new zombie types with the new patches and the new updates in the PC version. And some of them are really weird, and some of them just don't make any fucking sense. And for me being a zombie purist, I believe in the Romero zombie types, ones that are supposed to be slow, dumb, they can't run, and the weird special zombies like the big fat bloater cops that spit acid at you. I don't think those should even be in the goddamn game. Same thing for zombie dogs. I hate the zombie dogs. This would make it so when you start up your game or whenever you load into it, you can customize the options on what zombies you want in the game, what types of zombies. So you would be able to disable certain types of zombies, enable others, da-da-da-da-da. And also customize the strength. The strength, or possibly you could call it the level of decay of the zombies, because as a zombie decays, it gets weaker, because the muscles in their arms and legs, the muscle tissue decays, and when you have less muscle stuff, you can't do as much damage. And when you're a zombie, your shit doesn't grow back like when you're a normal living human. Your muscles will regenerate, they will rebuild. You know, that's how it works. Now, obviously, it takes a long time, but zombies don't even get it at all. But yeah. And here's another skill that I should have mentioned before, and this is actually the last idea that I have written down here. Add the ability to pick locks, as well as the related skill, a lock-picking skill. Once again, going back to Skyrim or Oblivion, you can pick locks. Well, why would you want to bash the crap out of a gun safe or any type of a safe, or bash down a door, when you could just pick the lock and open it without having to bash it and waste the door? You know, if there was already a door here, which there probably was at one point and I already bashed it in, why bash the door down when you can just pick the lock? And So that would necessitate them adding lock picks as an item that you could probably craft. It would just be little pieces of metal, so it wouldn't be super hard to craft. You could probably craft them in your forge. So you'd be able to pick locks on gun safes, regular safes, locked doors, anything that's locked. And you would even be able to pick the locks that people put on their mini bikes. As well as you could probably put locks on your cars if they add that idea too. So you could add the ability to pick locks, and that would be a skill that you could level up. And it would require the lock picking, or the lockpick item. You would need to have lockpicks in your inventory. And that would be just interesting to have. Once again, it would just be a matter of convenience to save these items so that they're not broken down completely, you know. Again, why break down a door when you can just pick the lock? You pick the lock, you unlock it, you open it, and there you go. And that could actually maybe also put that thing under your control, because items that you create, like doors, you can actually lock yourself or unlock. So you can't do that with items that were already in the game world when you spawned in. So, again, like lockpicking an item would maybe put it under your control, so that you could lock it and unlock it whenever you wanted to. Yeah. But like I said, that was the last idea that I have written down here, but I think there's a lot of good stuff here. And like I said, I think the Fun Pimps may already be working on some of these things. Like I said, they've already added wolves into the game with Alpha 16. But they're only enemies. You can't tame them, or at least I don't think you can. It would be really cool to be able to tame them. And of course, like I said, you'd have to have them fed, give them food, you know. It would once again be something like with the mini bike. You just kind of hold triangle, you can go into the inventory, you just put raw meat in their inventory, and they would eat it over time. It would be, again, very similar to the tamed dinosaurs in Ark Survival Evolved. See, I've often thought for a while, because I saw those two games, Ark and 7 Days, I'm like, the developers of these two games should really get together and make one big super game, using the best elements of both games. Because there's a lot of good ideas in Ark, and there's a lot of good ideas in 7 Days. Combine them into one really great game, and it would be really cool. You know, have the taming animals and stuff from Ark, and have, I don't know, the zombies, I don't know. But there's again a lot of good ideas in both games, and so it would just be nice to be able to combine them into one big super game. But yeah, so that's the last idea that I have. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. That's gonna do it for this episode of the Let's Rant. This is episode 7. Again, I do have ideas for other games. There's a game out, it's called Crossout. It's vehicular combat, but with a twist. You actually get to build your own vehicles. And if you've ever played, I think it was based first off of the gummy ships from Kingdom Hearts, where you get to put those together. But then it's also partly inspired by the building of vehicles from the Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts game. But you get to build your own cars and vehicles in a similar sort of fashion in this game called Crossout. I believe it's an indie game. It's downloadable. It's free to play. You can find it on the PlayStation Network. It's called Crossout. All one word, I believe. And, yeah. I have some ideas for that I may end up doing a video for that. I've never even streamed that game on my channel yet, but I might get around to doing that at some point. And yeah. And then I have ideas for the WWE 2K games because, those games need a lot of work. Speaking of, I am working on getting 2K18 if anybody cares. I will be getting back into doing my story in the universe mode thing with that sometime soon. But anyways, that's the end of this video in 7 Days to Die. Thank you for listening to my ideas, and I'm probably going to send this video to the developers at the Fun Pimps. I hope they have a similar sort of suggestion email thing like the guys at Rockstar do for GTA Online. But I will send this to them, and hopefully they'll see it, and hopefully they'll get some inspiration. Like I said, I come up with a lot of ideas. I have a lot of spare time. And so, if I don't keep my mind occupied with thinking about video games or other things, it just tends to wander off. But yes, that's been this video. Thank you for watching. Do join us next time for possibly more ideas for some other game. I might just get back into streaming. I'm still trying to finish up Kingdom Hearts. Going to be doing that whole series. Yeah, that's going to take a while. And I'm hoping to have some friends join me for that, so that'll be cool, hopefully, if it can happen. But yes, that will do it for this video. I've been your host, Jacob107, your gaming ninja, all those other goofy nicknames I came up for myself. Please feel free to leave comments if you have any other ideas to add, or if you maybe have something to say about one of the ideas that I have had, maybe a way to improve it, or whatever. Like, comment, share, subscribe, favorite. Join my Facebook page. The link is on my main channel page. All that good shit. But thank you for watching. Join us next time for more. Be seeing you later. Thank you and good night.